Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to another episode of the Other 99%. I'm super excited today because I have my first return guest, which is kind of awesome. We are up in episode, I think this is going to be like episode 35 when this airs. And ironically, this is the same person who was my very first guest on the podcast. So I'm excited to have back Susan. And the reason why we're coming back to you is because Susan introduced me to a book, and then we both dived into this book, and we're just telling everyone about it because we think it is so important to anyone doing business to actually dive in and read this, whether it's reading the paper copy or listening on Audible, whatever you choose. But we just wanted to come in and share a couple like little tips and tricks that we've taken away from it. But before we do that, I just want to jump in and let Susan introduce herself again, just in case anyone didn't catch her original episode. So welcome back, Susan, and tell us who you are.
Thank you so much for having me. I was on episode 1. I was honored then, and now I'm just as honored to be back as a repeat guest. Lisa and I work together on many, many projects, so always a pleasure to collaborate and work together on something new. So I am Susan Larimer. I've been with Lemongrass Spa Products for 10 years. I just celebrated my 10th anniversary. We're in the same Modern Direct Seller Academy. We do a lot of groups together. We're on a lot of Zoom calls together with other direct sellers also. And we were talking before this episode. I don't remember how this book came into my life. I don't know if it was a recommended to you because you read these other books or what. And it's not a new book. It's from 2017. But should I introduce the book?
Yeah,
Are we
go right
ready?
ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the book is called Building a Story Brand, and it's by Donald Miller. And basically, it says clarify your message so customers will listen. And maybe that's what caught my attention. Like, okay, am I presenting our products in a way that people understand not only what they are, but what they can do for them? So that kind of launched us into this exploration. I listened to the audiobook first. And as I was listening to the audiobook, I wanted to be highlighting certain parts. And as you know, in an audiobook, you cannot highlight. So I was like taking screenshots of where I was in the book so that when I got the book, I could highlight it. So I ended up purchasing the book, read through it, highlighted a ton, made notes in the margins, and then I started telling everyone about it. So that's where Lisa came in.
Yeah, and it was funny because I mean, you got a lot of people in on this. We even have our own little book club revolving all around this book. Ironically, we're having our first Zoom to discuss it just after we record this podcast, so it's like very timely that we're doing this episode. But the one thing that I loved about it when I first dived into this book is the fact that it just basically confirmed my thought process of, we need to make our customers the hero. It's not like we need to take our company out of the equation. Yes, our company is providing us with great products, but they're not the hero of the story that we're telling. So, I mean, I know that you've done a lot of changes, and we both have our own private website, our personal websites that we use alongside of our company replicated websites. But a lot of the information that we're going to be talking about today can be used in your social media accounts. You don't have to have a website. So that's one thing that I did want to bring up because they are very website focused on the audiobook, at least about how to update your websites. But just think of it in terms of, where you're running your business and how you can do it.
Yeah, and the whole hero thing, like I thought I was a hero. Like, here's my customers. They have a skincare issue. They have a problem. I am the hero that can solve their problems.
Hmm.
No. And that's why this book completely flipped my script, because I am not the hero. Our products are the hero. Our customers are the hero. We are just a guide to help them on the journey to finding the solution. So that was huge for me. It just made me look at how I write all of my posts and my blogs, my Instagram comments and everything, and it just flipped everything.
Yeah, and I know that you've done a lot of work on your websites, and I'm in the process of doing some rebuilds of my websites to align with the story brand. But let's talk about it. Like, so this they have the story brand, they call it the Simple Story Brand 7 framework. And there's seven like topics or tip that they touch on. So do you think that's a good
Yeah,
place to start? And let's go
yeah,
through there. Okay.
sure. Yeah, so story brand framework number one is the character. And it says story brand principle one, the customer is the hero, not your brand. So your customer, they need a guide to help them along the way. And in the book, he references different movies. Some of them I was familiar with, some I was not.
So I guess what he's saying is that every writer follows this story brand in order to gain people's attention.
Yeah,
So that's the idea. Like our customers are the hero of the story. They have a need and a desire to be filled. Our products can help to solve that problem that they're having and help them to meet those desires and needs.
yeah,
And then we are just the guide who helps them find their way to, you know, their end goal, whatever it may
yeah.
be. Like for
Right.
myself,
The hero needs a guide. They don't have all the answers. They don't have all the tools and the skill set. They are the one who has to complete the end task to save the world or whatever it is, but they have guides along the way that give them the tools and the guidance that they need to complete the task.
yeah, I remember this one part that I listened to, and I'll have to say it's like I've listened to the book probably from start to finish about 6 or 7 times. I go through chapters, I'll listen to them like 3 or 4 times over and over again. But there's just so much stuff in there that each time you listen, it's like, whoa, there's like something else that they said. But
Yeah.
there's one part that I know that they mentioned about you can't be the hero at the same time your customer is the hero,
Mm,
because what happens is the customer is coming along, they're reading your post or seeing something that you've posted about your business, and they're like, oh, look, great, another hero. But you know what? I don't have time for that. I don't have time to read that or engage in that because I'm busy over here trying to solve my own problems. So
yeah.
that's why when we're creating content for our social media, we need to be there saying, like, hey, are you facing this problem? I have
Yeah.
something that can help you. Come with me on this journey and I'll help you meet your end goal. Like, and like I was saying, like for me, it's going to be putting quick, easy meals on the table. For you, it's going to be like feeling great in your skin,
Right.
right? So it was very eye-opening to hear something like that. There's so many things to think about. It's like this book, it was just so I don't want to say overwhelming, but eye-opening.
Yeah. Yeah. Different
Eye-opening.
way of thinking about things. So a lot of what we just talked about kind of leads into story brand principle number two, which is companies tend to sell solutions to external problems, but customers buy solutions to internal problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then it talks about there are three problems actually. There's the internal, the external, and the philosophical. So, for me with skincare, external, wrinkles, fine lines, hyperpigmentation. We look in the mirror, these are the things we physically see that we want to improve. So, that's one level. The internal, self-confidence. If you're not feeling like your skin is looking fantastic, you're going to be like, okay, I need to hide it with makeup. My confidence isn't as good. I'm not, it affects you emotionally. And then philosophically, for us, for lemongrass spa, it could be the ingredients that you're using. We use ingredients that are very clean, safe for the environment, safe for our kids. So that's that philosophical piece. And when you hit all three of those problems and you have a solution, that's when your customer is buying in, like, yes, this is what I've been looking for. So before this book, I would just be like, oh, body polish on sale, buy now. My customers may not even know what body polish is. They
Mm-hmm.
don't know what it can do for you. They don't know about the ingredients. So it made me really look at how I was presenting the information and how that I present it. My post may be a little bit longer, but that's okay too, because customers need to know why they can't live without this product now.
Yeah. And let's face it, like even before when you were doing the body polish is on sale now, buy it, you were
Yeah.
still getting people buying because you've built the know, like, and trust factor with your customers. And they're like, oh, well, Susan recommends it. I'll take a look at it. But now you're probably getting a lot more people who may have not been intrigued by the, hey, it's on sale,
Yeah.
looking into it because you're giving the benefits of why this product is going to actually help them, how it's going to make them feel, how it's going to allow them to overcome things like, the rough skin they might be feeling or
Mhm.
something along that line. So it is, when you think about it, and this is something that the book doesn't really point out, but this is something that I always like to say, you see a lot of people who will put images up on social media and they have text all over these images.
Mhm.
And number one, the algorithms, the computers, the Facebook gods, they can read those texts. And if your text to image ratio is too high, you don't get pushed out. Let's just
Mhm.
face it. But that information should not be on the image. That should be information provided in the actual description or the post content because it's valuable. They need to read it. It's not something that's going to grab them. You need an image just to grab their attention and then provide them the information.
Mhm.
But a lot of that stuff that you're just talking about, that is stuff that you are going to be including in your post, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And guys, if you are unsure, I was just telling Susan before this, I jumped onto Chat GPT. And if you're unsure how to incorporate these things or make a post, hop onto Chat GPT and ask it for help. Like tell them, like, based on the Story Brand 7 framework, can you help me create a post that is in line with my business? And and just see what it spits out, because I was actually very amazed at what what it showed
It's
me. And I'm
very
like, wow,
intuitive.
you are smart, buddy. You're like, ChatGPT is smart.
They've read the book.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think it was the next principle. The next one is customers aren't looking for another hero, they're looking for a guide. And we kind of touched
Mhm.
on this already.
Yeah.
And I think it might have been in this chapter where they talked about we on a daily basis, we see, I think they said like 30,000 advertisements. Is that right? Do you remember that?
I don't remember the exact number, no.
It was something astronomical. And, I started looking around. I was on a walk and I'm like, okay, there's a billboard. There's a truck with a logo on it. There's, my iPhone with the Apple on it. Everywhere you look, you are looking at advertisements, whether it's the logo on your shirt or a store. I mean, there are just so many advertisements out there. So you kind of get fatigue. You
Mhm.
get fatigued, you stop looking, so you need to stand out. But this principle right here is something we talked about earlier, where the customer is the hero. Customers like to feel like they are the focus. They are not more important, but everybody likes to feel, what's the word I'm
Like
looking
they
for?
matter. They need to
Yeah,
feel like
yeah,
they
they're
matter.
important.
Yeah.
Yes. So they are the hero. We are just the guide, introducing products, telling them about the products, why they need the products, and then they will make a decision on their own whether or not they're going to purchase the products.
And I love the fact that, and this is something that I heard long time ago, but the number one word that or name that somebody likes to hear is their name.
Yeah.
Like say they, you know, It's like
Yeah.
when you call somebody by name, it's like they perk up. It's like, oh, you
Yes.
know who I am. I'm
Yep.
that important. You remember my name. And it's just a matter of making them feel that important in your story, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is how I can help you, Susan, solve the problem of what's for dinner tonight. Do you want to come follow me on the journey? I know that you're gluten free. We offer our full line of products are gluten free. This is how I can help. So
Hmm.
you're automatically drawn in. It's like, oh my God, Lisa understands. It's like she knows that I struggle with dinner time. She knows that I struggle with allergies. And it just all flows into then being able to, put that call to action in place and say, okay, here's how I can help you. What would you like
Yep.
to buy? Right?
Yep. Okay, so then number 4, story brand principle 4, customers trust a guide who has a plan. That sentence makes so much sense. You're not going to go with a travel agent who has no idea how to book a flight, how to get you to your destination, and just like, oh, let's just figure this out together. No. So that's where they talk about a strong plan and a strong call to action.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want your customer to do? And I think this was the eye-opening part for me on my website, because my website before, I had the navigation bar at the top. So I had blogs, contact me, um, shop, catalog, like all these things. And then nobody pays attention to them. They see all
Mm-hmm.
these words and they don't really stand out. And so he said, what you want your customers to do is to shop. So at the
Mm-hmm.
top of your website, you better have a shop now button in a different color so it stands out so your customers know exactly what to do. Or if you have like a blog or a post on Facebook, here's the information. Here's what this product can do to you to solve the internal, external, philosophical problem. Here is what to do next. Here's a PDF, or here's how to purchase this product. You need to guide them along in what you want them to do. Otherwise, they're just consuming the information and moving on.
Yeah. So basically, like, make sure you have your plan set out on how you want to help your customer in their journey. And
Yeah,
then I think number 5 goes into talk more about the specific call to actions.
right.
Um, you know, we need to make sure that we are putting in a call to action. There's no point in doing up a big post, providing a ton of information, and then not telling the customer how you can help them. Like, so,
Hmm.
okay, click here and book an appointment and let's talk one-on-one to figure out what your meal needs are.
Yeah,
Or B, click here and purchase this product, this specific product that is going to make mealtime easy for you.
yeah,
So I think that's one thing that I see often on social media is that there's too many, let's say there's too many posts out there that are just sales posts. There's no information. So they're just like shop now, shop now, shop now.
yeah,
Those don't work because the sales resistance of the person goes up. They scroll by that, and then that call to action is wasted almost because people
yeah,
are drawn to that post. Whereas then I see the next post where they're giving a ton of information. Like, even let's use Epic here for example. Like, they're giving great information about a recipe, how easy it is to make, how it only takes a few ingredients, how they made it last night and it was delicious and their whole family loved it. But then that's it.
yeah.
There's
There's no
no
step.
there's
What do I
there
do? How do
yeah,
I get it?
there's no like click here to buy the ingredients you
Right,
need to make this recipe at home. It's just like
right.
dry. It stops. And it's,
Yeah,
if we can just take those two things and combine them,
yeah,
I think a lot of people would see a lot more success in their social media content because it doesn't come across as being salesy because you're
right.
providing value, you're providing a recipe and stuff like that. And then you have that, that specific call to action, which in the end, basically you're telling them, come buy from me, but it
Yeah,
doesn't appear to be that way. It's like, here's
yeah,
how I can help you. Click here to
Yep.
bring this into your home to help.
Yeah. And it's okay to do that. Yeah. You're providing a solution for someone. Why would you make it vague and obscure of how you can provide that solution?
So, so true. So what's the next
Okay,
one?
so number 6, story brand principle 6. Every human being is trying to avoid a tragic ending.
We all
So,
hate failure, right?
yes, yes. So it says, if there is nothing at stake in a story, there is no story. Likewise, if there's nothing at stake in whether or not I buy your product, I'm not going to buy your product. After all, why should I?
Yeah. So this just a great example of this. I mean, there's a image that I've seen out there, and I've used it before in my social media content where it's like, oh, this is my kitchen after I'm following a simple 7-step recipe off the internet. And you see dishes and everything all over the place, right? And then you can compare it with this is my kitchen after creating a meal with Epicure in 20 minutes. And you have like the steamer in the sink. So something like that, it's like, okay,
Yeah,
if you don't want to deal with this failure, of a meal, like all that chaos that happened there, all the cleanup and everything, let me help you with Epicure,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I'm helping you avoid that failure at the end.
yep.
That's um a great thing that comes to mind all the time when I hear that point.
Yeah. And with me in the skincare in our clean ingredients, I wrote down in the margin, our tragic ending, if you choose skincare products that have terrible toxic ingredients, some of them are carcinogens. They cause cancer over years and years of use. You
Mhm.
know about deodorant and aluminum and things to avoid. So our tragic ending is you could get very sick from some of the store brand products that you're using. So here, enter Lemongrass Spa with our clean ingredients. Some of our products are completely organic, some of them are completely vegan. We are keeping you healthy from the inside and the outside. So you'd
Mhm.
always have to think about, your company, what will happen if they don't use your product? And some of it you can go extreme, some of it could be more of an inconvenience. But think about your specific product that you offer and what happens if they don't use it? What could happen?
And I love that. And I mean, even just thinking of both of our companies. So every every ambassador, consultant, whatever you're called in your company, are different. And you have a different brand. So for me, I mean, Epicure is quick, easy meals. Epicure is allergen friendly. But to me, I am drawn to my brand is all about quick, easy meals. So I focus on the quick, easy meal part. So when we're looking at that avoiding failure, I automatically navigate or gravitate to okay, here's the failure. If you don't choose Epicure, you're dealing with all this mess. Some other person who is on the allergen side is, okay, well, if you don't use Epicure, there's a possibility that, someone who is celiac gets gluten because they don't realize that there is gluten in that seasoning that they used.
Mhm.
So you need to relate your whole brand to what is your core principles, like what you value in your company. And
Mhm.
like with your company with skincare, it's like, yes, the ill effects of using products that might be bad for you over time, or you might have someone who their whole goal is, the actual appearance of their skin. And if you don't use our products, then you may end up finding that you're not fighting those fine line and wrinkles. And so don't just, and this is where I go back to the copying and pasting of other people's content. You're not doing yourself justice by not creating your own story to go along with your brand, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you really need to talk about you, your customers, and how you can help them on their journey.
Yeah. And sometimes you have to narrow down your products too. Like Lemongrass has over 400 products in their catalog. I
Mhm.
focus on skincare. That's, maybe like, I don't know, a fifth of what we offer, or maybe a quarter of what we offer is skincare. I talk about the other products if a need comes up, or if I have something to share, like a personal testimony. but most of mine I focus on skincare. So don't think that you have to be a guide for if you have a big, collection of products in your company. Kind of narrow it down. And we've talked about this before too, narrowing down your ideal customer. I don't serve everybody who has skin. I don't, I focus on women in their 40s, 50s, 60s who are looking for anti-aging skincare routine. And I help them through that process through skincare challenges, through, checking in with them. Do you have any questions? Are you using this product? So think about your specific products and really narrow it down how you can be the guide and focus on making your customer the hero.
Yeah, there's definitely this is definitely a book that you need to dive into.
Yeah,
Because as we're trying to sit here and share the information with you, we're trying to generalize, but when we're actually at the computers doing it for our particular brand, it's so easy once you actually listen to everything that he has to share
yeah.
in the book.
And he has a lot of those extra resources too. He gives you a website where you can actually plug in the framework. Like, who is your character? What is their problem? You can plug the answers in so that you have a better idea of your story. It all
Mhm.
comes together.
Yeah.
So then that final one, number 7, never assume people understand how your brand can change their lives. Tell them. And that's what we were
Mhm.
talking about earlier too. Tell the story, how this product can help solve that internal, external philosophical problem that they are having.
Yeah. And then I think that stems to, a lot of people see success with certain companies out there that are like health and wellness based, and they're like, oh my God, they have so many people buying these products. It's because their consultants, let's say, I never know what people call their
They're all
the people
different.
in
I
the
know.
companies. It's
I
like
know.
whatever. So their consultants are very good at telling the story about what the problem is that they can help with,
Mhm.
right? They show a lot of testimonials. They show a lot of before and afters. So it's easy for the customer to say, hey, I can be a hero in that story by placing themselves in that situation. If I just follow this, and this, and I could overcome my problem with swelling, let's say,
Yeah. Yep.
we just got to find that story and stick with it. Like it's just the easiest thing to say. Like, what kind of story do we have to tell our customers? Like, how can we introduce them and allow them to be a hero in the story that we have to tell? So,
Yeah. And going back to the website too, like you said, you and I both have our own websites separate from our replicated company website. And if you don't have that, that's perfectly fine. But if you do, they talked about the grunt test, the
oh
caveman
yes.
grunt
Yep.
test. So basically, if a caveman, barely any English, like doesn't know, can't complete sentences and isn't real intelligent, if they go onto your website, if they can't identify what it is that you are offering in like 3 seconds, then your website is not doing what it should do. So
Yeah.
I immediately went on my website. I'm like, oh, look at all the pretty pictures I have. Like, that tells me a lot about Susan, but what is Susan offering? So I
Yeah.
really redid my entire website and I'm still working on it. And they have a diagram in the book too that tells you, when you're looking at a website, your eyes automatically go in a Z formation. So
Hmm.
they start at your logo in the top left, all the way straight across. Better be like a shop now or order here or what free consult, whatever it is that you're offering goes over
Hmm.
there. Then they scan down to the bottom left where it's your grunt test. Like, it better be, for me, it better be I offer skincare solutions, something like that. Yours is going to be quick meal solutions. And then it goes down. And at the bottom, he calls it your junk drawer. That's where you have your blogs, contact me, um, what else? A catalog. Like, people want to go to your website, they want to shop, they want to know what you offer, And every time I go, like if I'm on a restaurant website and I'm looking for the menu, okay, the menu's there. I always scroll down to the bottom to find their hours, or if
Mm-hmm.
I need to call them to contact, it's always at the bottom. So why
Yeah.
did I feel like I had to have text me at the top? Who's gonna text me when they don't even know me?
Well,
Like,
and
what would they possibly text me?
why do we want to pull them right off of our site as soon as they got on, right? We want to
Exactly,
keep them
right.
on there. But I just wanted to
Yes.
go back because you did say the grunt test. So for
Yeah.
those of you who are like having a hard time understanding that, so think about going to and I know that Susan said about your web page, but anything that she said could be related back to your social media. So thinking about your customer community or your business page, okay? So if you're on there and somebody goes on and they're a caveman and they're looking around and they're doing that, and the one example that they said in the book was, I think it was like a pill commercial or a pill company,
Yeah.
they're looking at the website and they're go, oh, okay, pills, get rid of headache now. Good,
Yeah.
I understand, right? And so that's sort of to help you understand what the grunt test is. So if
Yeah.
somebody going to go on your website or your social media page and they're going to look at it and they're going to go, oh, okay, Susan sells skincare that helps with fine lines and wrinkles and stuff like that? Or are they going on your website or your social media page going, oh, Susan lives by the beach. Oh, she, enjoys walks with her husband. Like,
I've
so
got two
what
little bunnies.
so what is it that they're seeing? And I'm not talking about
Yeah.
like your personal page. I'm talking about
Yeah.
your pages that are specifically for business.
Yeah.
So whether it's a website that you're building or your social media content, all these same things can apply. Like go into your customer community, your VIP group, whatever you prefer to call it. And if somebody were to open it up without doing anything else, would they know how they can be helped in this group? Like, do they
Yeah.
know what this group is about? I always think about this, like what's in it for them, right? That is the
Yeah.
biggest thing that you need to ask yourself. What's in it for them when you go to that page? And if they don't know within 20 seconds, they're gone. It says they never make, and this is another thing, never make people burn calories. And when your brain has to work, apparently it's burning a ton of calories.
Yeah.
So um never make people burn unnecessary calories to figure out what it is that you do or what it is that you can offer them.
Yes. And that's what his motto is, clarify your message. I will
Yeah.
warn you though, once you know how a website should be set up, you will critique every website you go to because we have a coffee shop here. I'm not going to say the name, but I've been to this coffee shop. It is a cute little coffee shop, like the quintessential, coffee shop. Cute location, cute building. When I went on their website, they have there's a picture of a part of the building. You just see like the window. I'm looking at it right now. You just see like the window and part. There's like a satellite tower in there, and it does not capture the cuteness of the coffee shop. The picture was taken in looks like winter because there's no leaves on the trees, so kind of a drab part of the year. It has the name, but the name doesn't have anything about what they offer. And then their motto is coffee, cream, community. So, okay, they offer coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Cream, I'm thinking, okay, I put cream in my coffee. Community, okay, like what? It's very vague. So then I
Yeah.
remembered they sell ice cream. That's the cream of
Oh,
their cream
okay.
word. So they just wanted to focus on the three C's. So
Mm-hmm.
coffee, got it. Cream, I think of cream for my coffee,
Yeah.
not ice cream. And then community, like I feel like they should have gone more. And that
Okay.
does say it says handcrafted drinks.
Yeah, maybe if they had a picture of like a group of people sitting there drinking
Yes.
coffee and a kid licking ice cream,
Yes.
you
Like I
know.
feel I'm like, what? They should have, and it's such a great place. That website is not doing it justice. It's not serving them well. So you will look at other websites and be like, oh man, they missed an opportunity. They're missing the mark in their website. So
And there's something else that we didn't touch on that I think of that is like super, super important. And it's like, do you have a one liner in your business? Like, could you
Mhm.
tell somebody what you do in like one or two sentences, basically?
Yeah.
Um, because I know that many of us, we follow suit with what our company puts out there. And sometimes our company's message starts off with, oh, it started way back when our founder did this and they did that. And in the book it says, like, if you don't grab their attention, telling them what's in it for them
Yeah.
within a short time frame, they're gone.
Yeah.
Their attention span doesn't, they're not going to sit there and say, I want to sit there and understand this whole process about how this company was built and all this stuff. They just want to know, how can you help me? And then I'll listen to your story.
Yeah. You
So
need to
for
you need to drill down on your elevator speech. You're on the elevator with
exactly.
someone for 20, 30 seconds. If they ask, "What do you do?" You can't be like, "Well, 10 years ago, I joined a skincare company because, you got to say, this is
Yep.
what I offer."
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
I help people put quick, easy meals on their kitchen table. Like,
Yep.
simple as that. It's like, oh, how do you do that?
Yeah.
Now you could give them more information,
Yep.
but not about like, oh, the company's 25 years old and it's been in Canada and
Yeah.
so
And
we really,
remember, we're branding ourselves,
yeah,
not the company.
yeah,
So I always say I teach women in their 40s, 50s, 60s a skincare routine does not have to be complicated, expensive, and time consuming. Oh, okay. Tell me more. I'm looking for a skincare routine. It just opens the door there. Very specific, very short, elevator speech. So really drill down on that and make your message very, very clear. One thing we're doing, we're revamping our church's website, and I told my husband, I'm like, okay, go on other church websites, like send me things that you like, things that you don't like, so I can use this story brand framework to build our church's website. And he said exactly what he said. I want it to be very clean and very clear. I
hmm
don't want a whole lot of information. You can go to a different page for that if you want more information, but the first page, the opening page should be very clear what we're about. If that's going to catch their attention, they will look for more. If not,
yeah,
they're going to move on, and that is perfectly fine.
yeah, for sure. Now I know Susan has been working on her website. I haven't got as far as she has. So if you want to take a peek and see some of the changes that she's put into place, I will drop the link to her website in the show notes. But it's just susanlarimer.com if you want to jump on now. And I mean, I think we touched a lot of good points in
Yeah,
this.
there's
And
so
oh,
much. I highly
yeah.
recommend you get the book. And like Lisa said, after this, we're getting on with a group of like 4 or 5 other women who have been going through the book as well. The book, if you are in business, any kind of business, consulting, healthcare, like any kind of, I don't even know who this would not apply to. But any kind of service that you offer, this book is just amazing. It's called Building a Story Brand. Clarify Your Message So Customers Will Listen by Donald Miller. It is fantastic. Listen to it, and I know Lisa listened to it. I had to have the actual book to highlight and write notes, and I'll be going through it again. This will never leave my
It's
collection of
something that it's
books.
almost like worth revisiting every like so many months in your
Yeah.
business. I would say like
Yep.
every 6 months or every year at least,
Yeah.
to see, because we change over time.
Hmm.
Our stories change. What we value in the company changes over time. Nothing stays the same.
Yeah.
And it's the same with customers. Like, I mean, so we need to tweak that. And it's a good reminder to just go through and listen to him. And you're going to get those ahas again, those little nuggets, those little things that you could put into place. But
Yep.
again, I hope that you guys enjoyed this was just a little impromptu rambling that, I mean, I said to Susan, I'm like, we're doing the call with the ladies. Why don't we just jump on beforehand and do a podcast on it too? And she's like, Let's do it. So we were a little bit unprepared. We just were talking off the what we remembered from our read. But I hope that you enjoyed some of the information that you have. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to jump into my DMs and PMs, and we could definitely point you in the right direction or even refer you to the specific chapter that we were talking about. But yeah, I just want to thank you again so much, Susan, for joining us on the podcast. I'm sure that I will hit you up to do another episode. Maybe I'll get you to
Hey.
do the 1 year anniversary podcast with me.
Ooh, I would love that. Thank you for having me. Always
All
appreciate
right.
you.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us on another episode of The Other 99%, and we will see you again next week. Take care.
Bye.
This episode of the Other 99% podcast has been brought to you by Spice It Up with Lisa Duck. Are you looking for the easy button when it comes to meal planning? Why not check out our Epic Box? This carefully curated meal subscription box arrives to your door at the beginning of each month. Packed full of goodness, you'll receive 7 of our best-selling products, a featured recipe card, an exclusive ebook with multiple recipes for each product, and a few other perks at 6 and 12 months of your subscription. Plus, each Epic Box helps us donate 7 meals to those in need. For more information about the Epic Box, visit spiceitupwithlisaduck.com. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would take a minute to rate and review the podcast, I would absolutely love it. And if you know someone who really needs to hear this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. More listeners, the better. And if you know someone who would like to be a guest on the podcast, or you yourself would like to be a guest, be sure to check the link in the show notes or visit lisaduck.com and click Be a Guest. We'll talk to you soon.